welcome to another video on the channel. This will be the first time I'm doing sort of a point of view video where I'm kind of like talking to you. Instead of just showing the car, you can actually see me and we can go back and forth here a little bit. But today we're going to be talking about something that is actually very important. I've had a lot of people ask me about this before, and today's the day we're actually going to tackle it. But we're going to talk about how much I pay for this 2SS1LE 2021 Camaro. Now, there are a lot of different ways to get to this price that I pay per month, so before we get to there, let's actually get into three important things you need to know before you buy a Camaro, this car, any car. Before you actually buy one, these are three important buying tips, and I'm a pretty good source for this actually, because I've bought about 3 cars for me in the last 3 years, and I've helped several friends and co-workers buy cars as well. So, with that being said, here's the 3 most important things first that you need to know before you actually go out and buy that car. First things first, easier said than done, but you need good credit. Like, you really need good credit in this day and age where the price of everything is totally inflated and the price of everything is through the roof. You need to have good credit. And that's just the way our society is. That's the way everything is these days. The lower your credit is, the harder it's going to be for you to get a good loan through a bank, a credit union. The harder it's going to be to get your monthly payments down. I mean, it's just one of those things. You see it all too often. People, you know, everyone has their own situation, but people historically that do not have good credit seem to find themselves in worse and worse trouble with cars, and they become more and more desperate to get a new car. And in this day and age, in this climate, they're just going to get so hosed. It's just horrible. So, I mean, that's just the way it goes, and it's not good. I mean, you can still get a new car with bad credit, but it's not going to be pretty. So, number 1, you need good credit. Number 2, this is very important. If you're going out to buy even a new or used car, you want to have positive equity on a trade-in, if at all possible. Most people, they have negative equity on their trade-in. So basically, when they go to buy a new car, they're rolling in more of their lease or loan or whatever you want to call it into the new car payment. So you're literally paying for 2 cars instead of 1, and that's no good. So you always want to have positive equity inbound on a trade-in to help yourself get a better deal on a new car. And especially nowadays, like I said, with the prices being the way they are, you definitely want to have positive equity. Number 3, you want to have cash. Not credit. You want to have cash. You want to have money to be able to put down as a down payment on that new car. New, used, lease, whatever. A down payment is going to help lower your payments no matter what. And you have to have that. And if you're going to buy a car right now, this is March 2022 as we're filming this. If you're going to buy a car right now, you need to have all 3 of those things go right, or you are going to get absolutely hosed. Period. That's just the way it goes. 1 second. Woo! Going around this on-ramp here, we got grip for days. Alright, that was worth it. Sorry for the pause, but that was worth it. So, altogether, you need to have all 3 of those things if you're going to make a good car deal happen in 2022. If you have 1 or 2 of those things, I mean, you can still make a deal happen, but it ain't gonna be as pretty for sure. So, let's move that back up there. On to my deal now. So this Camaro itself, I found it at a used car dealer in the middle of Arizona, Phoenix, Arizona to be exact, and the car was just cool. It was too cool to resist. The color was good, the mileage, 5,300 miles on it. This car was actually, to my knowledge, it was repossessed. So we're talking about people getting into situations, you know, they can't afford, people trying to make car deals happen without all of those 3 steps I listed for you right there. That's what happens, and I was able to get this car at a good deal because of that. So this car was sold to me at $49,800. That's right, $49,800 for a 2SS 1LE, pretty much fully loaded. The only thing that's missing, I don't have a sunroof and I don't have PDR, but otherwise I have every other feature on this car.
Mark ahead.
And it is absolutely glorious, you know, because of that. I gave the car its first oil change. So, number one, I followed all three of these rules. I was able to have good credit. I'm fortunate enough to be in that position, and my credit helped me get a good deal. I got this car financed through a credit union, and whether your credit is good or bad, no matter what, try and finance through a credit union. You're going to get a lower interest rate, and I'll tell you my interest rate is below 3% on this, which is good on a used muscle car that's really new. So always have good credit, but if you can, go with a credit union. They really helped me out. So to begin with, we had that with a credit. Number two, my trade-in was a 2018 Mustang GT, and I was fortunate enough to be able to sell it at a good price, and I had $12,000 of positive equity. Let's move that up again. $12,000 of positive equity on the Mustang that I was able to roll into this car right here. So already my down payment's at $12,000 from the Mustang. So I've done the first two steps here. Good credit, good interest rate from a credit union, $12,000 of positive equity from my Mustang GT. And then number three, how I was able to make it work is I put down $8,000 of my own money on top of that. So essentially between the 12 on the Mustang and the $8,000 from my down payment, I put down basically $20,000 on this Camaro. So that $49,800 all of a sudden, well, we just lost $20,000 there with our down payment. So now it's almost like we're financing like a newer Toyota Camry or something. So I was able to follow all three of those steps, and my payment initially, like I said, I'm fortunate, I'm blessed, and I take advantage of that every time I can, because I know a lot of people, you know, whatever's going on in their life, they can't do it. So I seized the opportunity when I could, and right now I'm paying $460 a month for this car. I financed it for 72 months. That's okay. I can always pay it off early. There's no reward or anything like that to pay it off early, or no crime or anything to follow it through the whole 72 months. So $460 a month because of that massive down payment is what this car cost me. That is through a credit union. And to tell you the truth, my payment initially was $482 a month, but that was through a different credit union. I had to use the credit union that my used car dealer had at the time to make this deal work, and then about a month after the loan was established, I transferred it over to my own credit union that I do business with, and my interest rates dropped even a little bit more, which dropped my monthly payments about $20 a month. So it's a little bit long-winded there, sorry, but $460 a month. The other things, I don't really like to factor them in month by month, but essentially my car insurance itself is about $2,000 to $2,100 a year. I pay it twice a year, so it's about $1,000 every 6 months or so. That basically equates to about $165 a month for insurance on this car, which is actually a little bit cheaper than my Mustang GT was, so maybe less people crash these. I'm not sure what the deal is there. But I'm a 32-year-old male. I live in Southern California, so the prices of everything are way up no matter what. So that's actually pretty good for my car insurance. My monthly payments are very low.
Hazard reported ahead in a quarter mile. You're still on the fastest route.
Thank you, Siri. So we covered insurance, we covered the car payments there. Oil changes are about $125, $130 a month, or $125, $130 twice a year, I should say. So you have that. Registration, state of California is a joke with that. This car cost almost about $600 a year for the car registration, so that's a lot of money right there. New tires, this being the 1LE package, it came with the Goodyears. I've already replaced them, and this car's a year old. That was $1,700 because I went with some Continentals instead, so hopefully that should save me money in the long term there. So we got insurance, we got our DMV costs. The only thing I think that I haven't covered with you guys is also the sales tax. Living in the state of California, unfortunately, the sales tax is through the roof. I believe what it equates, I bought it in the state of Arizona, but they added on this California sales tax after you register the car. In California, I probably paid about $4,500, almost $5,000 in sales tax. So my true out the door price with this car was about $55,000, but for a fully loaded 2SS 1LE Camaro, that's actually pretty good when you consider the current market and how things are. And I rolled in $12,000 of positive equity from another car into it, so it actually ended up being a pretty good deal. I'm blessed to have this car. It's fun, it's exciting, it doesn't cost me that much per se, but these cars are expensive, and if you're missing one of those three things we talked about earlier, my advice would be just not to buy anything right now, because with the way the market is, I mean, you are just going to get absolutely screwed. So if you're missing one of those three things, honestly, I just hang on to what you have. It's just really tough out there. And one of the questions I wanted to ask towards the start of the video is, how much is too much? And for my own taste, so like I told you, $460 a month for this thing. I know people for these same exact cars, or even, you know, a 1SS 1LE, which is still a great car. I know people, you know, you're paying a lot of them $500, $600, $700 a month, and none of that is uncommon at all. But for me personally, I don't make that much money. My budget is pretty razor thin as is, so I got the most car I could get and that I could afford at $460 a month. So if this car was in the upper 500s a month, I couldn't do it. If it was $550, $560 a month, that's about my cutoff. Anything else, I personally couldn't do it. But if you're gonna pay for one of these cars and you know your monthly payments are $700, $800, $900, I wouldn't do it. I'd wait for a better deal. I'd wait for something better to come along. But that's about all I got from inside the car here, you guys. Let's go outside for a second just to give you some of my final thoughts on this whole deal. All right, you guys, so I hope you enjoyed that little chat session we had there about Camaros and car payments and all of this stuff. It all adds up, and it can vary greatly depending on how you can master those first three items we talked about, which was having good credit, having positive equity on a trade-in, and having money to put down. If you have all three of those things, you have a good chance of making something decent happen. If you have one or two of those things and not everything, it's not going to be as pretty, and my advice would be just to hold off on that until you can make all three of those things happen. But I've got the car of my dreams here. It makes me happy. It's definitely worth it. It fits my budget. It does everything. So for me, it's very good. And that's all I have for now. If you do have any other questions, comments, anything like that, please leave a comment in the comments section. I will reply. Please be sure to like, follow, and I hope to see you guys in the next video. But until then, be well.